That's a man that started his college career at my alma mater, Temple, now balling out with SMU. And that is Kobe Wilson, kind enough to join us right now. Kobe, appreciate the time. Congratulations on making the playoff, and how you been?
Appreciate you, Zach, for having me. And I've been good, man. Just enjoying the ride so far we got going.
So you guys find out you make the college football playoff. You've had now 2 weeks to prepare for Penn State. Just kind of give me the vibe around the program right now, as you're still a few days away, but we're all waiting in great anticipation for Saturday.
We're all extremely excited, of course, but we all have to kind of stay level-headed and realize, like, we were chosen for a reason, and just stay humble as well. So the vibe has been very electric, as everybody's, like, practicing with more intensity and locking in a lot more, but we have to stay level-headed and not make the moment too big for ourselves.
When that Selection Sunday happened, right, and you guys come on back and you just lost at the end on a big field goal by Clemson to lose in the ACC championship game, just what was that moment like when you walked off the field and then you had to wait a little bit, obviously, to find out what was going to happen if you guys were going to make the college football playoff? Were you guys confident that you were going to make it, or was it a little bit worrisome because it was out of your hands?
I ain't gonna lie, a lot of us were very worrisome, especially myself. I'm like, I already knew the disrespect SMU was getting, like, prior to the ACC championship. Like, people ranked us last in preseason polls of the ACC, so I'm like, they're not gonna respect us. But Coach Lashley told the group, was like, hey, guys, like, this is out of our hands. Like, just have faith and just control what you can control. And I felt like him telling us that had us just stay real steering ground, and it worked out in our favor.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is right, but I remember putting this out there when the score was 31-14 entering that fourth quarter. I go, you know, the committee's going to put Alabama in over SMU. I feel like the fact that you guys made it a game and you scored those 2 touchdowns and had the field goal and were able to tie it up against Clemson, then you lose on a heartbreaker 56-yard field goal. I think that fourth quarter effort really did get you guys in. Have you ever thought about that? If you guys didn't come back to make that game close, and if you did get blown out, maybe we're not talking to you today.
Yeah, I think about that, like, daily. And I also think about, like, what if you missed the field goal? What if SMU Mustangs are ACC champs? But it's like, you can't leave it up to thinking, you know what I'm saying? So what happened is what happened. And, like, because of us and us getting in the playoff, I feel like it's a blessing, and we're meant to be here now.
And that showed a lot of toughness. And we all know you guys are a damn good football team. Up until that point, the only loss on the season was BYU. But when you guys were down 31-14, how did you guys come together and make that a game in the ACC championship?
Well, we just went into halftime where we just basically said, like, yo, we're shooting ourselves in the foot here. Like, they're not doing anything special. Like, they're running the same plays on offense. And, you know, kind of we had some miscommunication things that happened. But we knew what kind of team we were, and we knew, like, we were not going to give up because, like, we fight for each other every single down, every single play. So we're like, we have one decision to make, and that's either go out here and play our butts off or go out here and give up. And we weren't going to give up because that's not the brand we show at SMU, and that's not the culture here.
When you were in the offseason and you guys were working to get ready for the season, what type of team did you guys think you had, Kobe?
So prior to coming off that championship last year, I knew we had what it takes to win. I already knew that already. And just bringing in some more guys and having those guys bond with more groups, I felt like the team we had was a team that can compete with anybody. Like you said, like, we lost to BYU prior to Clemson by 3 points, and we lost Clemson by 3 points. So all of our losses combined is really 6 points. So I feel like we can compete with anybody, and we can make any game a game. And nobody has a more talented room or a more stacked roster than we do. So I took that into account in the offseason, and I still believe it's true right now.
And you look around the country, right? Texas, they've been in the Big 12 forever. They go to the SEC. They were in their conference championship game. Oregon was in the Pac-12. They go to the Big 10. They win the conference. You guys, first year in the ACC, coming over from the American, you guys end up getting to the conference championship game now in the playoff. Why was that transition? I don't know if I want to say it was easy, but easier maybe than what people thought it was going to be for SMU this year.
I'm not going to say it was easy, but we made it look easy. Like, it took all hard work and grit this offseason. And our strength coach preaches grit and just doing one more extra, going the extra mile. So we made it look easy because the offseason we put in all the hard work plus some, but the transition was more so a mental thing in our aspect. We knew we had the guys, and we knew ACC is more physical in the trenches, just like the SEC. But we just knew, like, you can't measure the heart. You can't measure that. So once you go out there and just play with that heart, we could do whatever.
And you guys clearly play with a lot of heart, and you guys are a tough football team. That's why I laugh at people saying going into this one, and you can pick whoever you want. Oh, SMU, they're going to Happy Valley. It's freezing cold. It's probably going to snow. This team isn't tough enough to go into those conditions. I know you've heard it the last 2 weeks, but how do you kind of process and react to everything that's being said about going outside in Penn State?
It's hard, man. Like seeing that stuff on social media. Coach calls it rat poisoning. Like, don't listen to the media, and he tells us that very early in the week. So, but some guys like myself, I see it a lot of times because I'm just scrolling. But I take that as a chip on my shoulder and as disrespect, and that's one thing that motivates me more than anything. And me being from Temple, like your alum, I played in cold weather plenty of times, and they teach that toughness. So I feel like we can compete with anybody in any kind of environment, any kind of stance, and they got their 11 guys, we got our 11 guys. It's gonna be us versus them at the end of the day.
Yeah, it got a little bit cold at North Broad Street and down on Diamond Street, right?
Yeah, it did.
And that practice field, it freezes real quickly. It's
easy,
that's not fun.
Easy. Yeah, nah.
How about the growth of your career? So the first few years you were at Temple. The last 2 you were at SMU. I know the transfer portal now, it makes it easier to jump around, but you never know if it's going to work or not. How have you grown from a player your first year in college football to now?
I felt like I've learned a lot about myself. And in order to grow as a player, I had to grow as a man first. So I kind of took into account what I was doing wrong at an early age in my career. And I realized I wasn't as locked in as I thought I was. And so in order for me to get to where I wanted to be, I had to lock in here. So I talked to Coach Crum and Coach Simons. They're the ones who brought me on, and they're just telling me, like, what's one word that you want to achieve this season? I told them consistency. So I practiced that. I preached that every single day. I wrote that on my mirror so I could look at it and just tell myself, yo, like, being consistent could be talent and also hard work, because that one guy who stays the course the whole time can beat somebody who's rolling out like a roller coaster. So I kind of just took that one word and ran with it, and now I'm here today.
If I were to tell you before the start of the season that you guys would be in the college football playoff, would you have believed it?
Yeah, man.
Now, I gotta ask it because a lot of people, I give 10,000 predictions. I didn't have SMU in the playoff before the season started, but man, in like the last month and a half of a season, I picked you guys to win the ACC after that because I was liking what you were seeing, and I kept feeling even with your wins, you guys were flying under the radar.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, I didn't know how the whole college football playoff setting worked and all that stuff, but, like, I did have us winning the ACC prior to that, prior to the college football playoff things. But now that I figured it out, like, mid-season, I'm like, oh, yeah, we definitely can make the run. Like, I didn't say that in the beginning of the season, but I knew what we had in this room, and it was a possibility for sure.
How about your quarterback? Because I don't know if you guys knew what you had. I know at the beginning of the season – you were going back and forth, but eventually this became Kevin Jennings' team. Just how about what he's been able to provide to the squad?
Man, Kevin Jennings, like, we see it all the time in practice. So we knew this kid was electric when I got here. And it's like I'm seeing this dude on scout team my first year. I'm like, yo, this dude's making guys miss like this. Like, what are we doing? But, Kevin has grown tremendously. And I think a big part of that was Preston Stone. Preston Stone took him under his wing and taught him a lot. And I feel like Preston doesn't get enough credit for that because Preston has taught Kevin how to be resilient, be calm, cool, collective, and Kevin looks up to Preston in that same way. And they just done a tremendous job, especially Kevin. Like he's doing his big one right now. So I'm just so proud of him, and he's gonna keep making a reach for it.
How would you describe, just wondering, Kobe Wilson, Brashad Smith to someone who maybe has never seen him play?
Man, I say Brashad Smith is one of the most electric college football players that hasn't been talked about enough. Like, you talk about those guys, Travis, Ashton, whoever, but Brashad Smith, for his time to be moved to running back his first year and the numbers he's putting up, I think that's somebody you got to put in that conversation along with those guys because he's doing remarkable, and the moves he's making is unheard of. He's a rare bred athlete. So,
and here's the other thing, right? This is a stage where now everyone's going to be watching. Like, people clearly watching the ACC championship game. But now we're in the playoff. It's a different animal. Do you guys sense – I know you want to win the game, and that's what you're focused on. But if you do that, you guys kind of make a statement for SMU to the rest of the nation about what you guys are capable. Do you kind of carry that with pride about the opportunity that you have coming up this weekend and how many of these doubters that you could prove wrong?
We do. We always do. But we always try to stay humble as well. So we do that with every game. We try to play with the intention of showing the SMU brand as well as the culture. and we don't just let one game define us. Like that last game, we didn't let it define us. So we have to move on to the next one and just show what the brand of SMU is, and that's just playing physical, playing fast, and having fun out there.
Now, Penn State's got a talented team. When you prepare for that offense, they got a heck of a quarterback in Drew Aller. Tyler Warren's an absolute beast. They got really good running backs, too. What's the first thing that jumps out to you when you're getting ready to prepare for this Penn State offense coming your way on Saturday?
What we take into account is what their head coach has said about their Dairy Queen offense, where it shows all these types of motions, all these types of shifts. But at the end of the day, like they're doing the same old, same old. So what comes into my mind is an offense we got to get aligned up to, and they do a great job at stemming, hiding, and all this other stuff. So we try not to get caught in the window dressing, but I feel like their offense is very dynamic, but it's not something we haven't seen before, and we can definitely lock in and give them a good run for their money.
I want to take you back when you made that decision to go to SMU, when you hit the transfer portal and you were leaving Temple. Coach Lashley, just what were the first impressions that really stood out to him as he's becoming a big name now in this sport?
Well, what stood out to me about him was he was from the start real with me and just let me know ahead of time, like, hey, like you come here, like nothing's going to be given. You got to earn everything. And he told me about like what could possibly be happening with the conferences. But what I say about Lashley is he's real genuine, real truthful. And he sat down and talked to me and my mother at lunch by ourselves. So that just shows you the type of man he is. He cares about not just his coaching staff, but his players as well. And he shows it every single day. And he was a little sick this week. So, you know, we kind of felt bad for him, and we try to show him that love because we love him as well, just like he loves us. And it's like a whole family in this building. So we're just so appreciative of him.
No, if you get him a win on Saturday, I think he'll be okay. I don't think he'll need the chicken soup, all right?
Yeah, he won't.
All righty, last thing I'll ask you. All right, you have the college football playoff game and wrap it up with Kobe Wilson. He's going to be on the field making a bunch of tackles, leads SMU in tackles. Coming up on Saturday up against Penn State. You can tune in at noon Eastern. The journey's coming to an end, right? You know, if you guys lose, the college career, right, is over. You've been in college for 5 years. Just how crazy is it that you're already at this point where you're a senior and the stops that you had along this way? Is it like surreal how quickly the time has flown by for you?
Yeah, and time flies, man, when you're having fun. And the one thing they told me is the one thing you can't buy is time. And I finally realized that now. Like, I used to take advantage of it. Like, man, I'm young, I'm 18, I'm 19, but man, now I'm 23, man, and it happens so quickly. So I try to take that into account every single day and just enjoy every single moment, the wins, the losses, just me getting up in the morning, me being able to practice, because a lot of people aren't able to practice right now, and a lot of people aren't going to bowl games, and a lot of people's college season is done. So I'm just so thankful to God, to the coaches for bringing me on, and everybody else, because I get to live my dreams out right here.
Well, hey, I wish you nothing but the best. Good luck coming up on Saturday. I'll be rooting for you because I'm not a big fan of Penn State, so go get them, all right? We appreciate you doing this.
Appreciate you, man.